Yeah, more news coming out of the West Indies camp. This time on the men's side, Cricket West Indies have appointed Shai Hope as the ODI captain and Powell as the new T20 captain. The news came earlier on Wednesday. This is how they reacted to the news. Starting with Shai Hope, it is a tremendous honour and a privilege to be appointed captain of any West Indies team, to lead a team that is of such incredible significance, not only to myself and my teammates, but to our legion of fans the world over. Is something one dreams of as a child. The rich history and legacy that our region and our brand of cricket is so famous and loved for requires no intricate explanation. I would like to thank Cricket West Indies for entrusting me with this immense opportunity. To navigate West Indies cricket in the right direction will be my fundamental priority and a task that I shall be unwaveringly committed to. With the support of my teammates and our dedicated fans, I look forward to a long and fulfilling tenure as captain of the West Indies one-day international team. That's Shai Hope. Now, Powell, I'm truly humbled and grateful to be given this amazing opportunity to lead the West Indies. For me, this is a huge vote of confidence, and I see this as the greatest honour of my career to be asked to carry the flag for the people of the Caribbean. There's no bigger role in cricket in the region, a job previously held by some of the greatest servants of West Indies cricket. I also want to thank Cricket West Indies for allowing me to guide the team in the coming years as we set sights on the ICC Men's T20 World Cup, which we'll be jointly hosting with USA next year. I am a passionate cricketer who believes in leading from the front and always giving 100%. Now, their assignment will begin in the upcoming multi-format tour of South Africa later this month. Nikhil, your reactions to Shai Hope and Powell being named white ball captains?
Well, let me just start by saying I have to ask Shai Hope about that eloquent statement, man. I thought I was in a law class. I just mean the adjectives used, but it's great to hear,
yeah, brilliant.
He's so passionate about him in this position. I think I could say expected on one hand, but I think I was quite surprised as well. I personally expected Powell to get both formats, but I think a couple of things would have worked against him. The fact that you look at that he's not been in the one international side since July 2022. He's only averaged 23 in 45 ODIs and only has 100. So I think the fact that, he really struggled in the 50-over format. The last time the West Indies played, he went 7 50-over innings without passing 20. So I think that would have worked against him. But having watched him at the Super 50 up close and the way he was able to inspire individuals in that Jamaica Scorpions team, a team that not many would have had as favourites. And then, of course, coming after his CPL win, I thought, he's probably the best leader in terms of inspiring individuals that we have in the Caribbean. But when you look at Shai Hope, I think it was pretty much deserved if we look at the pathway, because when Kyron Pollard was captain of the West Indies team, Hope was vice-captain. So when Pollard stepped down, many thought Hope would have got the captaincy then. He didn't, but now he has his opportunity. And, of course, he deserves an opportunity to lead at the highest level.
Yeah, Nikhil, I'm not sure if I am opposed to 3 different captains for all 3 formats. Given the strain that Nicholas Pooran endured and eventually giving up the job, I have to think that I would support the move to split the captaincy between Powell and Hope, given the fact that these 2 gentlemen on their own are also having struggles with their individual game. And for one of them to be burdened with the captaincy of both white ball formats, as I said, given what we saw with Pooran, maybe a bit too much.
I mean, it definitely is a viable point. But the reason I was a bit tentative about Shai Hope, I look at this.
So are you suggesting you would have preferred to see Powell captain both formats?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. Only because I think Shai Hope is so important, as we all know, to the West Indies one international team, an average of 49. But I look at also how important he's been in the games that the West Indies have won, an average of close to 70. I am so worried that the pressure, like it did to Nicholas Pooran, the external noise gets in the way of a Shai Hope performing at the high level he needs to be for the West Indies to win games. This is such an important year. We've got the qualifiers coming up in Zimbabwe, and then hopefully we make that World Cup later this year. So only because of that reason, not because I don't think Hope is capable of leading, because he just led well in that Super 50 tournament, led the Barbados Pride. just because I think he's so important. I think to take that bit of extra weight off his shoulders, I would have gone the way of Rodman Powell, seeing two things. One, the way he was able to inspire his team in the Scorpions in that Super 50, but also how much price he put on his wicket in that 50-over competition. I mean, you look at 3 or 4 of the innings that the team won, he made sure he stayed there to the end and got a couple of hundreds as well. So it just seemed to sort of elevate his performance. And for those reasons, I would have gone Powell with both. But as I said earlier, I think Shai Hope is more than capable, and I think he'll really enjoy this opportunity, and it could make him better, as we've seen with so many players around the world.
Yeah, I hear your reservations about Hope, but that's one half of the equation, Nikhil, because the other half of the equation is Powell struggling himself. 23 is batting average in ODIs, and I think 23.42 in T20s. So, as we said, Powell himself is struggling with his own game, and maybe that was a factor that the CWI considered.
Yeah, it definitely is. But I think Rodman Powell will be telling the selectors, well, even though I'm not captain, he still, I think, is knocking on the door for selection. And because of what I just mentioned, in that Super 50, where he got the 200s and pretty much single-handedly led them with the bat in hand to that title, I think he's knocking on the door and said, well, look, when my team has been under pressure, I've been able to put my hand up, not only as a player, but as a captain to see us over the line. Surely I can be brought in to help with those middle-order plans. How he gets back in, I'm not sure, because, of course, we won't have another Super 50 before those World Cup qualifiers and, of course, before the South Africa series. But I think his sole focus now will be, to lead this team well in the T20 format, which is such an important format, as he mentioned, with the World Cup in about a year's time.
Yeah, quick one, Nikhil. Just about 30 seconds to answer this one. 3 different captains across formats. Are we now at the stage where we should be looking at least 2 different coaches or head coaches for the various teams, a test coach and a white ball coach?
I strongly advocate for that. But as read in the West Indies report, they say that, the budget is not there for that. But it was recommended by the higher officials in that report that we do have 2 separate coaches. And I mean, I'll point to one example. You look at England and the way their cricket has transformed across formats. It seems to be working wonders for them. And I think it could do the same for us. So let's see if it's something that comes in the near future.
All right. Thanks very much, Nikhil. Fantastic talking to as usual. And I'm sure we'll be catching up pretty soon. A lot of cricket, a lot of West Indies cricket around. Plus, there's that big India-Australia series going on as well. We'll chat soon.
Cheers, man. Thanks. All the best.
All right, Nikhil Uttamchandani there joining us to discuss West Indies cricket. First the women and then the men. Still a lot more to come on the SportsMax Zone, including NBA basketball and Champions League football. We'll be back.
Stay with SportsMax on YouTube and follow us on all social pages for updates, news and entertainment.